there was a very despicable police shooting out in Maryland. Now you have a Prince George's County cop by the name of Corporal Michael Owen Jr. He ended up shooting and killing William Green. Now, this is what's so bad about this particular killing. It's despicable. William Green was handcuffed and sitting in an officer's patrol car when he was shot. Yes, he had his hands free. He didn't have anything he could do. Hands behind his back inside the car, and this cop unloaded on him. Now, the police chief had decided to put second-degree murder, manslaughter, and weapons charges on the cop, Michael Owens Jr. Now, even though I support that, we got to talk about it because they put out his photo real quick, talking about the cop. They charged him immediately. But when it's the other way around, we can't get a photo. We talking about when it's the Caucasian cops. We can't get a photo. We can't get anything. It's hard to charge them. Oh, the union is fighting. Oh, everybody's fighting. But all of a sudden, the law works when it's a black cop. I'm just saying, the law should work like that all the time. All the time, this should work. It shouldn't take an act of Congress to get, the other cops charged. But it's always interesting when the black cops do it. I just noticed this by doing stories. So the police chief said that he brought the charges within 24 hours. And he said he knows it's unprecedented. Yeah, it is unprecedented in 24 hours. Y'all never do that to cops at all. So he called the move the most difficult moment of his tenure as a police chief. So he says, I'm unable to come to our community this evening and offer you a reasonable explanation for the events that occurred last night. So I've concluded that what happened last night is a crime. So William Green, 43, died on Monday night after he was taken into custody under suspicion of driving under the influence. As the initial report stated, officers received calls about a person driving erratically and hitting vehicles. As when officers approached Green's car, they reportedly smelled PCP, a hallucinogenic drug. He was cuffed and placed in the front passenger seat of a police cruiser, okay? As they which is standard protocol for PG County Police. Now, they said that one officer may transport one arrestee who will occupy the front right seat. So they said for vehicles equipped with transport partitions, it said arrestees will occupy the right rear seat. It said the cruiser on the scene did not have a partition. Now, William Green was shot and killed by Michael Owen Jr. on January 27 while restrained by handcuffs and a seatbelt. So not only did he have the handcuffs on him, he was in the seatbelt. So he couldn't even really get out of the seatbelt with his handcuffs behind. So it said, according to initial reports, Owens got in the driver's seat of the cruiser and a struggle ensued. Witnesses said they heard a loud bang and observed a struggle between Green, according to the police, was shot 7 times. They said Owen and other also performed life-saving measures. Green later was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. So you have a man that had handcuffs, seatbelt, and you couldn't deal with him. You shot him 7 times. So they said the police chief said that the story differed from the original account. He said there's no evidence, he said, of pointing to PCP being involved in the incident. And so he added the stories collected from witnesses at the scene could not be corroborated by Green and might not have been wearing a seatbelt. That's what he said. So he may not be wearing one. He said Owen was a 10-year veteran of the Prince George's County Police, and he wasn't even wearing a body camera, so you don't know what happened. And saying this is the second time this cop has shot and killed a civilian. They said back in 2011, he approached a man lying on the ground on the side of the road. They said Owen reportedly was attempting to help the man. They said Rodney Edwards, when allegedly he pointed a gun at Owen, who then fired his weapon several times. They said Green's death is still an investigation, and Owen was expected in court later this week for a bond review. Well, let me talk about some of these black cops. There are some black cops out there that are worse than white supremacist cops, beyond with you. They want to show out and they want to handle black people no different than their white supremacist buddies. I'm talking about the cops that are racist. That's why Ice Cube said the black cop's showing out for the white cop. You remember that particular cop from Boys in the Hood? You remember that cop? They got black cops out there like that. They'll be willing to beat another black person. They'll be willing to shoot another black person like it's no tomorrow. That's why a lot of people say it's not black, it's not white, it's blue. But the thing is, with the black cops, they don't get the same protection as the white cops. They don't. And I don't know why they think they are in the same level and position. But this cop, I agree, he needs to be thrown underneath the jail. I don't want him out. He don't need to be on the streets. You shoot a man 7 times? Come on, man. You could have called another cop if it was that big of a deal. If he was that out of hand. What happened to your taser? You couldn't use that? You gonna pull out a gun and shoot the man? I mean, this cop is nothing but a traitor. He is. Brothers deal with enough issues and problems with police. And then you see a brother and say, okay, well, he may understand what I got going on. Or, you know, some brothers are dealing with mental health issues as well. Because we don't talk about the mental health issues black people deal with. And you coming from black neighborhoods for the most part. And this is what you go and do. You see, we got to understand that, you know, not every black cop you see is going to be, okay, that's a brother I'm dealing with. It'll be all right. Because some of them be on one. Trust me on that. Well, leave your comment, let me know what you think about the situation with this particular story. I mean, it's, you know, very, very sickening. You know, what happened in this story? How you shoot a man 7 times with handcuffed and a seatbelt? How? How you do that? None of that is even right. None of it makes sense. And this guy, like I say, he needs to be underneath the jail. And I feel for him in jail because they're going to get at him.